are these people?
Tell you something, brother!
Who are these people?
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Don't be rude.
Who are these people?
Who are these people?
Welcome to this episode of Pro Wrestling Talk. I'm Angel Rivera alongside Miss Witchy. How are you doing?
Oh, hanging on. I was listening to a little bit of Jim Cornette before, when I was at work this morning. So I'm ready to go as best I can be.
Yeah, I'm ready to. I'm just, trying to get shit ready because, let's see. Sorry about that. Hope everybody had a great week. Let's see. And it's another Saturday. I mean,
Our topic of discussion, discussion. I can't even talk today. Blah, 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 blah. Our first priority. If Nick is out there, Nick, I'm sorry I missed your show. My son's father came late, so I wasn't able to get on. And by the time I was able to get on, it was too late. So my son's father actually picked him up. So,
no,
it was cool. They get to hang out, this weekend. It's kind of like them too. So, you know, you have that father-son bonding time. So,
yeah. So, So I think I talked about this a little bit last night, but Donald Trump is going to make an appearance on Undertaker's podcast some point next week, I'm guessing.
Right.
Yeah, because Undertaker already filmed kind of an endorsement for Trump on Trump's TikTok. So
yeah. Well, and like I said I think I said last night in the chat room that, I mean, this just sounds like a storyline. I mean, Taker might be conservative and stuff, or Mark might be conservative, but it feels like this is just political theater to me. And it seems like it's a storyline. You know what I mean? Because if you've been following politics and wrestling are so much alike, so they've been, in the same boat, and they're just alike. So, I mean, Trump's trying to stay relevant, and literally Taker and them are just in a storyline. Now, I already didn't like Glenn Jacobs because he was a Republican.
Yeah.
And I don't like Republicans or Democrats. So I hate both sides. And so I really didn't really care for Glenn Jacobs to begin with. I really didn't care about Mark's affiliation. I thought Mark was cool, but I mean, I really didn't like the Undertaker gimmick. It just wasn't me. I was more Mr. Perfect or Stone Cold or, so, so to me, this just feels like a storyline, where people are trying to stay relevant, and, you have heels and baby faces. Excuse me. So I just think that this all screams kabuki theater, and it all screams like a story, a storyline.
Yeah, this all of a sudden people are pretending that Batista's better Undertaker now. I like Batista better. Anyway.
I know, I don't like Batista. I hated that dude.
That's
anyway.
Bullshit. Yeah, I'm guaranteed these are same people that loved Undertaker just last week.
I don't understand. Like everyone's like, oh, then you like Batista. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I hated the guy. I didn't like any of his movies. I hated his wrestling, and yeah.
The only reason why he got over because all of a sudden he got over with the son-in-law because they're ready to fire him, and so all of a sudden he started working out with the son-in-law, aka Triple H. So how he got. That's how he got the push and became world champion eventually. But it wasn't like he he's over. He wasn't over until he got over with the son-in-law. So that's when. So I played this last night, I think, but let's just.
Oops. Are we allowed to play this? We may not get copyright or anything.
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's only 15 seconds.
Okay.
November 5th.
Like it's
Election Mania. Choice is yours. You can go with President Trump, Kane, and The Undertaker, or you can take Kamala Harris, Dave Batista, and Tim Walz. cause. Choose wisely. The nation depends on it.
And that should be an easy choice.
Yeah, none of ya. I choose none of ya. How about that? Yeah, that is
I
an easy
just
choice. Good one,
I
Trump.
love how much they make fun of Dave Bautista. I mean, he
I mean,
does
look at
look.
Dave Bautista though. He looks emaciated.
Yeah, it looks so
Emaciated. Sorry.
like he looks so skinny. It's like you want to either you choose Donald Trump or President Trump. Undertaker calls him Undertaker or Kane, or choose Kamala Harris. Dave Bautista looks like this, and then the Tim Walz thing. Like look at that. So it's
Ugly.
just troll Donald Trump. Like it's just his
Oh,
TikTok page. So,
definitely. Oh,
uh,
definitely. Yeah.
mhm.
I expected almost Stone Cold to come out and give him a stunner again. Blah, blah, blah. See, I told you I can't talk. But yeah, like this is just for this is just Trump trying to remain relevant. Excuse me. Sorry about that. This is just Trump trying to stay relevant. It's Taker, I guess, coming out as conservative. And like I said, not a big Mark fan, but I mean, I wasn't a big Undertaker fan. I like Mark's podcast because it's sort of
Mhm.
like, he tells the story of, the old ways,
Yeah.
the old locker rooms and how they used to be. I'm just not a big fan. I just wasn't a big fan of The Undertaker, and I didn't like Glenn Jacobs. I wasn't a big fan of Kane either. So I picked none of you. How about that? I picked none of you. But yeah, like Dave
Sorry.
Bautista, I never liked him either. I didn't like his wrestling. I didn't like any of his gimmicks. And I don't like Guardians of the Galaxy. I just don't like them. My dad watches them all the time, and I'm just like, Dave Bautista, how the mighty have fallen, that kind of thing. But he
Mhm.
needed to go back to movies because he ran out of money, I think, because of like divorce or something. So it's like
Yeah.
almost like he's like Ric Flair,
Yeah. He
It's like a
went
Ric
broke
Flair happening here.
after he left WWE the first time. After that first run ended, I mean, he went broke, and then he stumbled into Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's how he became this big Hollywood superstar. Even though it was an easy performance. So you watch it, it was like it's him just being a big monster, which is what he was anyway. So it wasn't like he
Yeah, I
did
didn't
an
really like those movies.
incredible acting job. So it wasn't like he did an incredible acting job. He just
Right.
stumbled into his role that made his
Like
career in Hollywood.
ugh.
So yeah, let's last night. I think it was last Saturday or whatever was the AEW WrestleDream show. We gotta
Yeah.
knock this out real quick. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. So there were 4 pre-show matches, and there were
Okie
13
dokie.
matches overall on this card. 13, including the pre-show matches.
Okay.
Because Brian Cage defeated Atlantis Jr. for the television title in 11 minutes. I didn't watch it, so I don't care.
Yeah. Nope.
Anna Jay defeated Harley Cameron by pinfall in 8 minutes. Okay. The Acclaimed, Anthony Bowens and Max Caster with Daddy Ass Billy Gunn defeated MXM Collection, Mansoor and Mason Madden with Rico. They brought back Rico, by the way. I'm not sure you remember Rico from the Attitude Era, but
No, I don't.
he was he used to be with Billy and Chuck when they were homosexual. He was their
I
manager.
must have missed that one. I think I was still watching WCW at the time.
And hold on, Rico. I know his name is Rico Cons. Okay. 63 years old. I mean, he's surprised. He doesn't look that old. He debuted in WWF on March 21st, 2002 episode of SmackDown as a stylist of Billy and Chuck. So they were like doing the
Oh,
homosexual gimmick, and he was their stylist.
of course.
So Rico portrayed a homosexual stylist as his gimmick.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No wonder I don't remember him.
And
I was more
yeah,
interested in Perfect coming back, Mr. Perfect.
he debuted in 2002, and he was fired by 2004.
Yeah.
And he wrestled in Japan a little bit, and then in Future Star, it was Japan. Last time I saw him, he was a cop. So he was a
Wow.
cop in Vegas.
Hmm.
So yeah, see here it is. He entered the Northwestern Military Academy. He returned to Vegas and settled to a career as a paramedic, which led to enrollment in police academy. Constantino was also on the SWAT team at one point, paving the way to the next career as bodyguard.
Hmm.
So, yeah, so now he's in AEW managing this and MXM collection, which used to be they were in WWE as Maximum Male Models.
Okay.
So basically the same gimmick, but a different name. So they're just ripping off what they did in WWE. So that's who Rico Constantino is. He's back he's back. Of course, Tony's hiring all the wrestlers he saw in the Attitude Era in 2001 and 2 and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So no reason hiring Rico. I mean, people forgot. I even forgot he existed until I saw him on like the pre-show. I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, is that Rico? That's Rico. That's the gay stylist for Billy and Chuck. That's the only time I remember this guy.
Yeah.
So the next match, the conglomeration, Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly and the Outrunners. Turbo Floyd and Truth Magman with Rocky Romero defeated the Dark Order. And the premier athletes, Arya Davari, Tony Nese with Smart Mark Sterling, Josh Woods, and Evil Uno by pinfall. What a wordful that is.
Yeah, I mean, it was a mouthful, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, nope, I'm not
Mhm.
gonna try it. You try it.
11 minutes and 30 seconds.
Mm.
Again, I didn't really pay attention to it, so it's just in the background. There was a pre-show, it was free, so it was like, all right. The first match on the pay-per-view, the Hangnail. No, it's Jay White defeated Hangnail Adam Page by pinfall in 16 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah, I listened to Jim Cornette, and he's like, this is it's garbage wrestling for garbage, AEW is just garbage. That's the best way I can put it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was terrible match. I mean, the way it was described, it was like, and I saw clips on X. Everybody loves posting clips of the pay-per-views on X. So who cares? Mariah May, women's world champion, defeated Willow Nightingale by pinfall in 10 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah, so Jim talked about this too, and he's like, they have too many girls. He was just saying there's too many girls, and why don't they just make it a women's show and literally just see how it goes, right? Just too many girls doing garbage wrestling. Enough is enough.
They suggested that before with AEW. Make Rampage or Collision a women's show and see whether that works. Because
it won't.
It won't. But I'm just saying, they should experiment because they're just sticking these women for no reason in these cards, and with no stories. Like, oh yeah, here's two women for no reason. So there you go.
Every
Jungle
man's dream.
Jackoff. The TNT champion Jungle Jackoff defeated Katsuyori Shibata by pinfall in 9 minutes and 20 seconds.
Jim didn't even care about this match. I'm sorry, I just knocked down something, but go ahead.
Well, the Jungle Jackoff. Why would anybody care? I mean, it's like,
yeah, I mean, no one gives a crap about him anyway. So, to be honest, it's just like I said, garbage wrestling for a garbage network, and that's AEW in a nutshell. So.
So, Katsuyori Shibata is the guy. He has the gimmick where he uses his phone and the phone translates what he says for him. So, if people want to know who that is, that's his gimmick.
Worse.
Yeah, that's his gimmick right now. So
that's even worse.
The next match was
English.
The next match was the three-way dance or three-way match for the AEW Intercontinental International Championship.
Konosuke said the same.
Yeah, Konosuke
take a shit.
Yeah, take a shit with Don Callis defeated Will Ospreay and Ricochet by pinfall.
Right. So and then Kyle Fletcher comes out, and you don't see him at first because he's wearing all black and he's got the mask on, or he's got his face covered. And Jim Cornette was like, it took so long for them to unmask him or uncover his face that like literally they're like, oh come on, who is it? It was Kyle Fletcher.
Kyle Felcher. I mean, I don't.
Felcher. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
What did I say?
I
Fletcher?
don't. Yeah, that's his
I meant
correct
I
name,
meant
but yeah.
I meant that.
Uh,
Sorry.
to take a shit. So he's the new international champion. It
Right,
must
right,
be.
because
Because he.
Kyle, yeah, like he something happened with Kyle and came out and hit him. Oh, he hit uh Osprey or Ostrich, hit him
Mhm.
over the head with the screwdriver, and then Osprey or no, take a shit, covered him and got the 1, 2, 3, and then they're just kind of standing in the ring. What's his name? Kyle what?
Belcher, Fletcher.
Belcher? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Kyle
Mm-hmm.
just kind of stands there and looks around and doesn't really do anything, but he's just kind of standing there mute. I guess that's the greatest angle he ever had, was just remaining mute at that point.
Yeah, it's
Um
ridiculous.
yeah, it was a garbage match. It was bunk from the beginning. And like I said, we will talk about the whole bag over the head, which
Yeah,
again was garbage wrestling. It was
we'll
bad the
get to
first
that.
time and even worse the second time. But I
So,
do go on, please.
yeah. The next match was a 2 out of 3 falls match. Hologram defeated the Beast Mortals 2 falls to 1 in 16 minutes and 40 seconds.
And Jim Cornette said, I
Mm,
mean, nobody
mm,
gave a shit about this match. Everybody kind of didn't watch it. So we move on.
mhm.
I mean, it was worthless. I mean, the first one went to Hologram. The second one went to the other guy. And then I think the third one,
It's a hologram. He won the match. So,
Hologram. Right. So,
so hologram is Tony Khan's kind of, his
yeah, it's Tony
it
Khan's creation.
yeah, his idea and his child, basically. He's been thinking
Yes.
about this gimmick for years, and
Yeah.
he just handed it to this guy, whoever he is, and now he's
Right.
hologram. So
Yeah.
I never seen him once. I guess he's supposed to disappear and reappear in other places. I don't understand the gimmick, but
Yeah. But it's just
hmm,
as Jim Cornette put it, it was just such it was such crap. It was such crap.
yeah,
Um no one, like I said, no one gave a crap about this match. No one really cared. They didn't like it. They thought it was boring, and literally the crowd sitting there like,
hmm,
statues.
that wasn't good. All
Yeah.
right, then the next match was as Darby Allin defeating Brody King by pinfall in 12 minutes and 20 seconds.
I mean, Jim
Yeah.
Cornette compared this to Mowgli and Baloo. He, he didn't want to do it, but he had to do it.
Hmm.
And Darby Allin does not look like a wrestler. He looks like a skateboarder who needs to go back to the skate park. And that's all you should do for the rest of your stupid little miserable life. Because something about, someone came out and said, well, what happens, if you climb Everest and you pass on? What happens if you are deleted?
Hmm.
Where's the company going to be? Because literally, this is also a Tony Khan creation here as Darby Allin.
Yeah.
And literally, they're like, where is the company going to be if you are deleted? They're stupid. If you
Yeah,
go climb Mount Everest and you end up getting deleted,
he's
makes
one.
no sense.
They've invested a lot of time and money in Darby Allin. He spent
Right.
years with Sting to try to get over because he was
Right.
with Sting. So
And he's
they
not
spent
over.
no, but they've been trying, and they put a lot of money into him. And
Right.
what's worse is Tony Khan is going to let him climb Everest, whoever next year, or whenever he actually tries to do it. That's the worst part. This is going to let him. It's like, even though he's under
Okay.
contract, and he's going to keep sending him his checks, even though he's going to climb Everest. I'm like, you can climb Everest. I can't stop you, but you're not going to have a job. So
Yeah, you're not
you
going
do
to have
what you got to do.
I mean, and even trained professionals, I mean, some of them have been deleted.
Yeah,
And they trained for many, many
years
years.
to be able
And
to
they still
climb
ended up,
Everest.
getting deleted.
Mm. So
So
whatever.
whatever you want to self-delete yourself, go for it. It
And
would be better for the wrestling business, I think.
the next match has the Young Bucks defeating Private Party by pinfall to retain their AEW World Tag Team Championships in 15 minutes and 50 seconds.
This was just
It was
it was just what Jim Cornette said it was. It was horrible. It was disastrous. I don't even know why this is on a pay-per-view. They should give it away for free TV because it was just that horrible.
The Bucks just won't put anybody over. I mean,
That's
it's like
true. Yep.
they think they're Hulk Hogan in 1986, and they don't have to put anybody over.
That's right.
I'm like, put somebody over.
Yeah,
I mean,
anybody.
I'm not saying that these guys deserved it. They're probably jabronis, but so are the Young Bucks. So it's not like so are the Young Bucks. They're full of
Mhm.
jabronis in this match. So they act like, well, yeah, we're big stars. We're the young, you're the EVPs. I mean, I'm sure that Tony's not going to say, "Oh no, you got to do a job." It's like we're not, and they turn into Hogan like this, like, nope, we're not doing a
Oh
job.
God, yeah.
That meme, as soon as somebody won't do a job, is like, oh, there's Hogan. Like, they post that meme. It's like, nobody.
Exactly. I like the artwork. They're all both like this,
Hmm.
and the other guy's like this, and I'm just
Yeah,
like, okay. Oof.
they won't do a job.
It was
So, all
brutal
right.
to listen to, even though Jim was like, "Yeah, this is just garbage." And next,
The next match had Mark Briscoe defeating Chris Jericho with Big Bill for the Ring of Honor World Title, which is at this point a meaningless world title. Like,
right,
why do you, it's a dead company? Tony Khan is not using it for anything. If he
right,
used it as a developmental territory, like WWE uses NXT, that's one thing. But they're not even doing. Tony's not even doing that. He's just featuring talent that's in their 40s and 50s for no
absolutely.
reason,
Yep.
on this some show.
Yeah,
If he
absolutely.
if we use it as a developmental territory, like WWE uses NXT, and maybe have your 18, 19, 20, 21 year olds on this show with
Hmm.
some veterans mixed in who did teach them, maybe it would work. And you can resupply them, the main AEW with, those
Right.
talents. Like WWE's doing NXT, but he's not even doing that. Mark Briscoe
No,
shouldn't be the champion. I mean, he's just
no.
like, I always I compare him to a meth head. I mean, I'm sorry. He looks like a meth head. Like, why would you put the world title on a guy who looks like a meth head? Yes, he's
Who?
maybe a
Mark
good
Briscoe?
wrestler. Yeah, yeah, you've
Oh,
seen
okay.
him. Like, he no teeth here, and he's bald. He looks like he's 650 years old. He doesn't
Ooh.
look good.
Okay.
Briscoe doesn't look good.
So since Jay has passed, Mark
Yeah,
just kind of went circle in the drain there.
yeah. I don't.
Um, Jim Cornette says that this was one of the better Jericho matches. I don't like Jericho, so screw him. I think the match was horrible, even though I didn't see it. I don't think Chris Jericho should be even anywhere near a wrestling ring, let alone in matches. But kudos to Mark, even though he looks like death.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. He looks like he's. I'm like, you're putting a world title on him, even though the world title is kind of a joke. I mean, it's just Tony. Because I thought, I can't take this gum anymore. I thought that I can barely talk with it. I thought when Ring of Honor went on sale, when Sinclair tried to sell it, I thought, well, Vince is going to buy it and put the tape library on Peacock.
Hmm.
Nope. Tony Khan came in with a ridiculous offer, bought up Ring of Honor, and is doing this with it. This garbage.
Yeah, this garbage.
It's more useful to be the tape library be on Peacock because you have all the old Seth Rollins matches, all the old like a lot of Kevin Owens matches. I mean,
Hmm.
all these guys that were at Ring of Honor 20 years ago are now in WWE for the most part. So
Sami Zayn, was he
Sami
with Kevin
Zayn,
Owens?
yeah, El Generico, he was a mute mass superhero, but
Hmm.
that was Sami Zayn's gimmick, and
Ah,
Ring of Honor. So
should have stayed that way. Okay,
all right, so in
next.
the main event for the AEW World Title, John Moxley with Marina Shafir defeated Bryan Danielson by technical submission. So John Moxley once again your AEW World Champion for the sixth time.
Hmm. So Jim Cornette said, I don't know what Moxley's doing, but he should keep doing this because he doesn't look like there's extra John Moxley. He actually looks like he's in shape, and he's been going to the gym. Uh, Other than that, they didn't like this match either.
It
They kind of
it's
thought it was stupid.
it's literally like the KKK, except that they're not calling it that. I mean, the Black Bull Combat Club's turned into KKK.
Right.
He shaved his head. They're beating up black wrestlers. They're trying to murder or delete wrestlers. With paper plastic bags over their heads for no
Right.
reason. It's like that Russell Crowe movie from the '90s. That's what they're copying, the Australian movie. So
Yeah.
it's like Dean Ambrose or Dean Ambrose. John Moxley
Ah, you
saw
did
this
it
movie.
again.
He saw this movie and he fell in love with the gimmick and went to Tony. He's like, "Hey, can we do this?" He's like, "Oh yeah, of course you could," because he doesn't say no to his talent. He do shit.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. And like I said, it was bad the first time. It's even worse the second time when they, put the bag over the head. I thought that was so stupid. And again, they're doing it again. Like, oh, that was so cool the first time. No, it was bad the first time. And no wonder we call you garbage wrestling, because this isn't good wrestling, guys. This is like bad Vince Russo writing. I had someone on X try to convince me that somehow Vince Russo was the greatest writer ever. I went, first of
I
all, there
saw
should be
that.
no writers in wrestling. Second of all, he made himself champion. Then he made him an actor, a champion,
I saw that.
a wrestling
So
champion.
this main event should have been worse because initially Tony Khan wanted to put the belt on Darby Allin.
Right.
So and then Bryan Danielson or Dean Ambrose, John Moxley got into Tony Khan's ear and said put the belt on him because he's the bigger star. So he politicked his way to a world title for no reason again.
And I think they all do that, really. I think they all do that, where they just politic and say, oh, no, Tony, I deserve it. No, you don't.
It's like whoever gets to Tony last, that's what he decides, and that's
Right.
what the finish is going to be, or the match is going to be. That's why Jericho is a master politician. I mean, he's still there, even though you shouldn't be anywhere near a wrestling ring right now. Like people are so sick of him that he shouldn't be anywhere near a wrestling ring.
That's what
John
I
Moxley, John Moxley shouldn't be a world champion right now. I
Right.
mean, it's and then they're doing this skinhead gimmick, and fucking Wheeler Yuta turned on Danielson too and started, trying to delete him with that that plastic bag for no reason.
And like I said, guys, I mean, they did it the first time, it was really bad. And they did it the second time, it was even worse.
So allegedly, Bryan Danielson is actually retired now, so he's not going to appear again. I don't believe
Thank
that
the
for a
goddess
second.
for that. I mean, we
believe-
needed to save him from himself.
Yeah, and WWE like WWE has saved a lot of these guys from their worst instincts. Like as soon as they go to AEW, all of a sudden they're doing a lot of the shit that they shouldn't be doing. And never did in WWE either. Like Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, Bryan Danielson, who else? Just Jericho. I mean, my God, there's no way to let Jericho on television looking like that. So it's like
he looks like a slab of meat that's been out way too long. Hi, Nick. I'm sorry I missed your show. Like I said at the beginning, my son's father was late, so I was just like, oh well, no point in getting on now.
Oh, Nick is Mets fan. Let's go. Let's see. AEW TK is a fanboy. He's not a businessman. Punk mentioned in there everyone who leaves sites the same thing with TK. He has a stacked roster. Can't book shit with it. Yeah, that's well said. Well, I mean, you brought up Vince Russo, and I'm sure you've seen the clips, but they all appeared on Piers Morgan's show talking about Vince.
Piers Morgan is a political guy, but then I thought, wait a second, politics and professional wrestling. Hello.
Yeah. They all appeared on Piers Morgan talking about Vince in the documentary. So it was Maven, Coachman, Jonathan Coachman, Vince Russo, Charlie Caruso, or whatever her name is now, and the newspaper guy that hates
Phil
Vince.
Mushnick.
Phil Mushnick.
Yeah, and Vince Russo went off on Phil Mushnick, said, I was a journalist. I went, no, you were barely a writer. What the heck are you talking about?
Vince Russo, I had too many Vinces. I keep saying Vince, but who are we talking about? Vince Russo insisted that he was a journalist because he went to Vince's press conference in 1991. And Mushnick didn't go. It's like, why didn't you go? Why didn't you go? Why did you go, bro? Why didn't you go? So,
I'm a real journalist, bro. I was like, yeah. And I'm a writer. I can write better stuff than you can there, Vince Russo. And then, of course, someone had to be a little mark for Vince Russo. Oh, he was the greatest wrestler ever. I went, or a greatest writer ever. I went, yeah, okay. If you're not joking, you're dumb as fuck. Because seriously.
Trump cut a wrestling promo that got him into the White House, wrestling his life.
Yeah, I mean very similar. And now Trump is going on the Undertaker podcast again. Trump is trying to remain relevant, and Mark is just doing a storyline, and with Kane too. So again, guys, professional wrestling and politics very close, very similar. It's getting ridiculous at this point.
Yeah. So yeah, he
But yeah, anyway, going back to Vince Russo, I mean, let's remember, everybody, this dude went to WCW, made himself the champion, and then literally made an
Thank you,
actor, an
CBC.
actor,
Yeah.
someone who's never wrestled a day in his life. He made David Arquette the wrestling champion, heavyweight wrestling champion. You might as well have just pissed in everybody else's face that had that belt.
Yep. So I have a couple clips between these two guys, and there's Phil Mushnick there and Vince there, you know. So
Right there, yeah.
they're gonna fight here. I thought it was funny, so I'm just gonna play this real quick.
He wanted proof. I just supplied the proof.
How come?
I called you out. I called
There
you
you
out
go.
30 years
Coachman.
ago when you made it up. You
ain't
made
never
stuff
spoke.
up, Phil, 30 years ago,
Keep
bro.
shouting, 'cause you're a
30. You're
fraud.
gonna sit there and say
You
what
were the guy.
Russo is a fraud, even though I
He
don't
is
like
a
either
fraud.
of
Oh my
these guys.
God.
But yeah, he pretends
He
like,
had
like
this-
Because maybe you're
He had this
Yeah.
like busty thing. He wanted all these busty women wrestlers, and he all his little freaking fantasies that he was having as a teenager while he was jacking it in the back. I mean, come on, guys, this is not serious. He's not a serious person. He's
And
just
he
a
actually-
jack off person who got lucky and got into the wrestling business.
Yep.
Maybe you're senile, bro.
No,
maybe
we
you're
talked
too
a lot.
Maybe you
We
just
talked
got
a
out
lot.
of the chair, bro. You reported on stuff that was
Don't
never
call me
said,
bro.
I'll call you whatever. I'll call you a liar then. How about
You're-
that, bro? I'll
you're-
call you
are
a
you
liar. You
liar?
reported on
Knock
stuff
yourself
that
out.
was never said.
Really?
I
You
recorded
You have no
the
credibility.
You went in
You
the New
used to
York
be-
Post.
you used to be
recorded
a gay-
stuff that
you-
was never said. Yeah, what? What, bro? I was what?
You're
I
gonna
used
get-
to be what? What did I
You
used to be,
a
bro? Tell me,
gonna
Phil.
let me
so-called
speak.
a writer.
Go ahead.
He's like, you know what? Like he's acting tough to I forgot his name already,
Bill
but he's
Mushnick.
Phil Mushnick. Like,
Mhm.
you know, you don't like him, and we don't like him in the wrestling world for all the bullshit he's pulled. But he's an actual columnist and journalist, been on for decades. But
I mean,
Russo
I
acting
think-
like he's better than him.
Right. No, and to agree with Nick, I agree. I think that that's probably why Vince hired him. But Russo didn't even have the balls to go to Vince McMahon before he left for WCW and say, "Hey, you know, Vince, I'm just not feeling this. I want to go somewhere else. I want to be free like a bird." No, he fucking just like sent a letter or something and
He-
fucking went
he
to
called
WCW. Oh,
The
he called
story
him.
was
He called him.
him on the phone, and because Vince was in England for a pay-per-view, so he was flying back to New Jersey to do a show to do Raw. But Vince Russo didn't bother driving down from Connecticut to
Right. Didn't
shake
even have the
Vince's
balls
hand
to
and
go in
like,
his
"Thank
face.
you."
And I
Thank you
agree with
for-
Jim Cornette on everything he said about Vince Russo. If I were like that, if I could actually get away with it, I would shit on this man's grave.
Yeah, it's like he's like he could have like thanked Vince, you know, it's like shake his hand and like thank you for
Yeah.
everything, Vince. I got an offer I couldn't refuse in WCW. You know, hopefully work together in the future, and thank you. You know, and that's it. You know, you don't have to, you know, make it a long conversation, but
And then he sits there and bitches, "Oh, I have to watch Raw and I get paid millions of dollars to sit there and watch Raw." You know what? Fuck you. If I had millions of dollars to sit there and watch Raw, fuck, I would do that every fucking week. But I got 4 motherfucking jobs, you stupid motherfucker. Take a walk in my shoes, Vince Russo, because you ain't got the balls to actually stand up for what you fucking believe in. 4 jobs, baby.
he's like
4.
he's complaining that he has to watch Raw and SmackDown. It's like, dude, you got a Patreon, you got people, you know, give you super chats on your streams, and you're
Yeah.
complaining about it. I would
And I
love to
can't
make a
do that
living
yet
like that.
because again, I'm not monetized on
Yeah.
YouTube because I don't have enough hours, watching
Yeah.
hours or whatever. So I
Yeah.
can't be monetized on YouTube until that fucking happens.
Yeah, so it's like you have to have like 2,000 hours, an insane number of people in order to
3,000, yeah.
It's even worse. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
an insane number. In order to even, you have to have over 1,000 subscribers or 500, and you have to have all these hours, and you have to have, you know, it's like it's very difficult to get monetized now on YouTube. So let's a little bit more of this.
Go ahead.
Are you
Tell me
gonna
what I used.
speak? You let me speak.
Go ahead.
Sure,
What I
Phil,
used
go
to
ahead.
be.
Did
Phil.
you once
Maybe.
did you once write a newsletter
Let Phil
about
speak.
pro wrestling? Did you
Yes.
run once? And weren't you very, very anti-McMahon, right? I got the copies, so don't lie.
Yes, show us the copies right now, Phil. Show us the copies right now. Anti-McMahon, my fuck, bro. I was fair. I was a fair. That's why I went to the symposium to hear his side of the story, because guys like you were burying him. So I was, there's got to be another side to the story. That's why I went and you didn't go, because you didn't want to hear the other side of the story, because you had to sell newspapers, bro. You're the fraud. And you embarrassed me to call myself a journalist.
Okay, let me jump in as a good.
He's complaining that Mushnick, as a bad guy because he didn't go to the meetings and stuff.
Well, first of all, he was anti-Vince at one point because he literally went to WCW and fucked them up.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you literally didn't do anything with Vince McMahon. You left Vince McMahon, gave him a call, said, sayonara, I'll see you later. And you went to WCW and fucked that up. So, yeah, you are a fraud, Vince Russo. And I'm not saying I don't know anything about Mushnick, so I can't really talk about that. But the fact that he said, oh, you didn't come to these meetings, fuck you. You shouldn't have been at those meetings because you're a fucking idiot. You don't know anything of what you're doing. You should not even be in the business of wrestling because you fucking didn't know anything about it.
The story was that Vince Russo here, they went to that meeting to suck up to Vince. That's when he first met him, and he got the job at the magazine like not long after that, writing in the magazine.
And you didn't even know how to spell. You don't even know how to spell. Your spelling sucks. Your grammar sucks. You are a sucky ass person who knows nothing about wrestling.
And then he went to the WWF writing the magazine. And then what he would do is sit on the outside of his office, like, on the outer edge of his office to suck up to Vince when he saw him. And then he had all these ideas and, he's one of those kiss asses in the office, it's like everybody, there's certain employees that just sit outside the boss's office all day and just suck up to them whenever they see them. Worst kind of employees to me, but that's how he got the head writer's job eventually because, he sucked up to Vince enough that he made him the head writer.
Right. And he wanted credit for everything. He wanted credit for all that bullshit, scantily clad, busty women going out there and taking off their fucking clothes. Any fucking hoe can do that. Trust me. I know a bunch of them. They were my ex-friends. Trust me, any girl could go out there and shake her little titties and shake her little ass and, I'm jacking off. What the fuck? That's not wrestling. That's not wrestling. That's Days of Our Lives. That's fucking a drama that nobody fucking watches. You took the wrestling out of it. And he's like, I want credit for Stone Cold and Vince McMahon. No, fuck you. That was Vince McMahon and Stone Cold.
Yeah, that was talent. That was Stone Cold, The Rock, The Undertaker. That was the talent, and Vince also. Russo. What he would do, Vince would just take one of his ideas, which was decent, and they would turn it into something good and just put it on TV. And Vince ignored all his other ideas. Like, these are all shit, but here's one
they're
good
sitting around
done.
Talking about Sable and how she would look like in a little teddy, and she would look in her little underwear. Fuck Sable. She's fucking surgically enhanced. Everything was fucking fake on her.
Both those Vinces were obsessed with Sable. It's like, okay, how do we do the t-shirt spot?
Because she had a pretty face.
Like this, and how did we have her do the they spent like an hour on that t-shirt spot. How are you gonna do it? How do you look? They were both kind of obsessed.
They were both jacking off at the same time to it. Baby, I got real titties. She had fake. She had fake. Everything about her was fake. She didn't even want to take a bump for Luna.
Vince went to WCW way later, though, so it's a little embellished. I mean...
But he still... he still messed up Vince. He messed up WWF and then went to WCW and fucked them up, too. So, that was my point, is that he messed everything up for Vince and then messed everything up for WCW.
But he didn't have that editor like that Vince McMahon on top of him, editing his shit in WCW. So he's fully in charge, and we saw what it was when he's fully in charge. I think this is another part where him and Mushnick kind of argue here. So let's.
Really?
I think he's a sociopath. Yes, absolutely.
Vince is a sociopath.
What do you do when you make jokes on the air, as the future governor of Minnesota did, Jesse Ventura, about all the pedophiles that were being indulged, transported, and all the kids that would show up from city to city, they had no parental restraints. They were coming from foster homes. They were easy pickings. They were easy prey. And it happened on McMahon's watch.
Which
and it
is
happened
true. That's the Ring Boy scandal, which is true. That happened under McMahon's watch.
Right.
And I think Mushnick was the one who broke that story. So that's why, Vince has hated him ever since. But he nearly ruined the WWF. But that scandal.
And you, Vince Russo, who used to who used to be anti McMahon, then you started kissing his ass because he got paid,
Phil,
and you're like everybody else.
You're not going to sit there and lie without me talking over you. You're
Who's
a liar.
Dr. Mauro Di Pasquale?
I was never pro McMahon ever. I reported the truth and the facts. You did not go to the steroid symposium because
you have a right
the
character.
Didn't want to hear his side of it. Did you go, Phil?
Did you ever?
No, you're not letting. Did you go? What? You had a lunch date, bro?
Here,
Why didn't you go, Phil?
Who?
You weren't even there.
Who's Dr. Mauro Di Pasquale?
Yeah, Vince Russo keeps saying, "Well, I mean, I went to Vince's press conference and you didn't. Why didn't you go? Why didn't you go?" It's like, dude, it's like he Mushnick kind of owns him here at the end, but
who's Dr. Mauro Di Pasquale?
That was the person he had present at the steroid symposium.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead, Phil.
And what was his specialty? What was his specialty?
I guess he was a con man, Phil. I guess he was an actor. He was an actor.
Specialty. He was from Canada. His specialty was how to teach athletes to beat steroid tests.
So then why didn't you go to the symposium and say that?
To go listen to
I didn't
because I was way ahead of you.
Okay, let me bring it. Okay, hang on, please.
He wasn't a witness to any of that. He wasn't subpoenaed. What are they talking about? He wasn't subpoenaed.
There was a press conference that Vince held with a doctor that.
Oh, okay.
That's what they're talking about. Is like, oh well, I already knew the doctor, and I already knew I was way ahead of you, kid.
Please hang on. Let me bring in Maven who wants to say something.
Yeah, and they're gonna.
Maven's literally laughing his tail off at this. Like, look at these two idiots.
Each time they fought, Maven is laughing his ass off on that, and it's like, come on.
I can't believe that Pierce Morgan, someone who literally. Do you condemn Hamas? How about you go fuck yourself? And this is why I say politics and professional wrestling are literally the same thing. Because literally Pierce Morgan is a politic guy. He's a political guy. And now he has all these wrestlers and so-called writers and so-called bookers. I mean, what did you book? What did you book, Russo? You booked bullshit and not wrestling.
Yeah, look at Mushnick though. He looks like he has a really small head and his body is like huge.
I mean, you can't really compare because Mushnick is just a journalist, but you know, I don't like Mushnick. I'm not going to stick up for him, but
Vince.
But Russo has no room to talk.
Like in
all he did was suck Vince McMahon's dick all day.
Yeah, and then he left when Vince basically said, "Oh well, I mean, when he was writing SmackDown, because Vince also made him write SmackDown, and he wasn't he didn't get a raise, and he got anything. It's like, oh well, I want to move my family back to Indiana. I'm like, Vince is like, no, I mean, you're Connecticut. Like, oh, just hire a nanny. I pay you enough money, and he got all offended and went to WCW.
Right.
So he moved his family to Atlanta instead. So that's nowhere near where his wife's family was at. So he's just lying. He just wanted more money.
Yeah, he just wanted more money.
He moved his family to Atlanta, so in order to take the WCW job. But let's see.
And we love you, Nick. We love you.
Yeah. Phil.
I'm sorry. I'm very passionate about this shit, especially when you had Russo just literally piss in the face of everybody who had the WCW belt. It's a good thing Kurt Hennig didn't have that belt because you might as well have just pissed in Kurt's face and everyone else who had that WCW belt. Hogan for one, Sting is another one. Help me out here, Luger. The Giant. You might as well just piss in all their faces because he never fucking wrestled a day in his life, but he made himself the champion, didn't he? And then he made a fucking actor who wasn't a wrestler. He made him heavyweight champion. Again, you are a joke of a person, Vince Russo, and you're sitting here acting like you're king shit and you know everything about wrestling. You don't know dick about anything.
Yeah. Look at this bullshit.
All right, see you, Nick.
All of a sudden, it's like, all of a sudden, Undertaker is like public enemy number 1 on the internet. It's like Batista had final match in front of fans, last match in front of nobody. That was during the pandemic, so that makes no sense. Actually fought in MMA, only watched MMA. It's like, so what?
Yeah, so what?
How big? I don't understand what that means. Afraid of cucumbers. Yeah, Undertaker. He's famous for this now. I mean, ever since started podcasting, it's like this all come out that he's afraid of cucumbers. Even though I've been hearing that for years as like a wrestling rumor, Undertaker doesn't like cucumbers.
Well, I mean, there was that. Remember the Percy rib?
Yeah,
He stuck in the tea. I'm like, I would have been like, Percy, I'm going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
He ribbed him good. Let's put it that way. He ribbed him real good.
Walks fucking slow. Yeah, that was Undertaker's gimmick. Saves animals. Does a podcast again. Act like it's a bad thing now. He's podcasting. I mean, I'm glad he's doing that show. That way, he's telling.
I love the Undertaker's podcast. I mean, I have no problem with Mark. I just, like I said, I just think this is one big, hoggabaloo that Mark is just a part of. It's just all kabuki theater, and I mean, if that's how if Mark is a conservative, fine. He has a right to be conservative. I'm not going to, diss him. If Batista's a liberal, fine, whatever. I think they're both wrong, but that's just me.
Yeah, and then it keeps going. Buried alive 3 times. Yeah, that was an angle. Stood up for LeBron James against racists. Tried to meet LeBron James in gear and got ignored. I don't know that story, and I don't think LeBron James would ignore Undertaker, but because he was a wrestling fan. So, and this guy says, I don't like Undertaker's politics, so now I'm going to minimize his accomplishments and pretend he isn't a legend or all-time great. An idiot. Yeah, that's what these people are doing now,
Yeah, basically.
This is Batista today. Look at this guy. I mean, he looks like he lost all his muscle, and he looks
like a girl, like
a
really bad-looking girl.
Looks like a girl. Yeah, it's like, what happened to all his muscle? Like, I mean, that was the only appeal he had was like that 300-pound behemoth, and now he's like, I'm bigger than Dave Batista.
He looks like a person recovering from cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to be mean or anything because I've seen what those people look like, and he doesn't look good. He looks very frail. He doesn't look himself. I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but like I said, I hate them both. I don't like I don't like Harris. So if they want to be that, fine, more power to you. It doesn't bother me and it doesn't affect my life. But yeah, Dave Bautista looks very sickly.
Yeah.
He definitely looks very sickly.
I'm curious.
And I said that who did I say that to? I think I said it to Kit. I'm like, Kit, he looks very sickly. He doesn't look anything like this. This doesn't look right, He's like out of proportion with himself.
Yeah, he doesn't look like that well. Not at all. Yeah, he just doesn't look that well right now. So you have Obama looks sick. Castro screaming from the grave, even your women hate capitalism. But
I mean, we all hate capitalism because it really hasn't benefited us.
So yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what Donald Trump says on Undertaker's podcast. So, and he had the other, he appeared in other. He's been doing like a shit ton of podcasts and appearances and stuff, and he's been, he's gonna do Joe Rogan as well, and I think right before the election. So let's see. So
again, this is just Trump trying to be relevant and playing the game. Because Harris won't show up anywhere. Again, don't care, guys, because I'm not for either one, and I'm not sticking up for anybody. But I mean, you don't have to go on all these. I mean, she just did a Firefox. Sorry, she just did a Fox News one. And someone had mentioned that she got all over Tulsi because Tulsi went on Fox News. I think it was Alex that said this, and I agree with him. Screw her. She's the one who was like, oh, you shouldn't go on Fox News, blah 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 blah. Yeah, you shouldn't go on Fox News because it's all the same bullcrap. He never asked her about Israel, and they never asked her about Ukraine, never asked about any of that stuff. So again, Fox News is nothing but CNN and MSNBC for the right. I mean, it's all bull crap, and it's all bad for you.
Yeah. So
Just watch us. Watch Angel in the Afternoon. Watch INN, because those guys, they tell you the truth. So watch them.
Thank you. But let's see. But yeah, Trump is gonna do Undertaker's podcast, and I'm sure they're mostly gonna talk about wrestling because
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, it would give, and again, not sticking up for him, but it would give Trump a nice, relaxing, hey, let's talk about wrestling. Let's not talk about politics.
Yeah, because
Trump will try to squeeze the politics in there, but definitely I would, especially because WrestleMania 4 and 5 were at the Trump Plaza.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Let's how did you feel about the Trump Plaza hosting WrestleMania 4 and 5? Were you excited to see all the wrestlers that came out? That kind of thing. That's the kind of stuff I would be interested in hearing. I don't give a fuck about the politics, but that Trump is going to squeeze it in there.
And I'm sure Trump has plenty of stories, so they can get into that. So that's something
how
I
many
would play on the
wrestlers
show
did
here.
Trump meet? That I would love to hear that. How many wrestlers did Trump get to meet? Did he get to meet Hulk Hogan? I'm sure he did. Randy Savage, same thing, Yeah, ask him about wrestling. Don't talk about politics. It would give Trump a nice, relaxing, okay, we're going to talk about wrestling instead of politics,
Yeah.
You can relax and recoup.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so that's why I thought kind of like, okay, well, as long as they stick to a lot of pro wrestling and maybe not much politics, they'll be fine. I mean, it's not like it's going, but I'm sure that the liberals on liberal trolls and Democrats in this X, they're going to clip the shit out of this and put it all over the internet and attack Trump. So. And attack Undertaker, and also Undertaker is like, oh well, he wasn't that great after all, guys. He sucked. He walked slow. He didn't really do much, and Batista was better. And it's like, I mean, it's like how it's just
Batista
outrageous.
wasn't better. Batista wasn't better.
No, I mean, it's like
he got a chance because he worked out with Triple H. That's not talent. That's just a lucky break.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's not talent. I mean, he just happened to, get in with the boss or the son-in-law.
The son-in-law, right. And then he joined that thing with him and Triple H and Ric Flair. And, we got a big break. Oh, whoopee, But for his wrestling skill, I give him an F on the wrestling.
Yep.
And again, F on the acting too, because I couldn't stand Guardians of the Galaxy because of him.
Yeah, so start migrating over to the other platforms. You get
All
Ready
right, here
55
we go, Rumble.
right now.
See you, YouTube.
It's like 5 minutes, but yeah, I'm gonna start migrating over. My battery's almost dead.
On your phone or on your computer?
No, my phone. My phone.
Yeah, I'm at 50%. Nope, 48.
Yeah, so it's just my phone. Let's see. Yeah.
In my defense, I've been watching YouTube all day on my phone, so.
Yep. So yeah, I'm gonna start migrating over there soon because it's it's 8:55 and I'm probably gonna need to start. I mean the Yankees are playing right now, so we're not gonna be on until like 10 or 10 something. So let's see. So I'm gonna start turn this off.
I'll see you later to YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you over on Rumble.
Yeah, just start migrating over there. Let's see. So let's just stop this. All right, that's that. I got to stop it on the INN YouTube channel as well. So just give me a minute. So yeah, we'll get to some clips in a moment here. Just gotta. Let's see. So that's the. Okay, here we go. And stream.